Yo, what's good everybody? It's Fright Delight, and I'm feeling good today. I feel like a priest in the orphanage. Scratch that. I'm just feeling great today because we're finally here. Finally here to talk about the final movie in the Night of the Demons franchise, ending it off with the 2009 remake. This was made during the horror remake craze with movies like Friday the 13th, Last House on the Left, and My Bloody Valentine were all remade for better or for worse. Just like the first film, this movie is about a group of unknowing partygoers mistakenly unleashing demons in the whole house. While looking at the general reception of the film, I've seen a lot of people say that this movie was one of the worst films they've seen that year, and not to waste your time with this movie. I've even seen a person say that it gives an even worse name to horror remakes. Now, I don't know what fucking movie these people saw, but it's not as bad as people make it out to be. I almost feel like this remake gets the Friday the 13th treatment. A decent movie with obvious flaws, but it's still more than entertaining to watch, at least for me. So, does the entertainment value hold more weight than any of the sequels or even the original? Well, we'll find out as I recap the movie, give my thoughts and opinions in between, and end it off with a tier rating. So let's stop playing and get to it. The movie starts off with a silent film approach to the backstory of Whole House. While it doesn't give you everything, we're shown that Evangeline is attempting to hang herself while Lewis is attempting to talk her down. He isn't able to, leading to her death by decapitation. You can tell something's off by the way his eye switches colors. We'll learn more about that later as to why this happened as the film continues. Now, before we skip to Halloween night 85 years later, I want to address this demon mouth used for the transition into the time skip. Honestly, I wish they would have used this design at least for one of the demons or even the devil-like dragon creature in the original film. As we get close to those possession scenes, they don't even really match the way they died like in the previous movies. Besides Angela, there's no real creative demon designs, and hers isn't even all that great. I think this design is creepier than anything we see in the film, at least for me. Now, fast forward to 85 years later on Halloween night, we meet a few of our main protagonists, starting with Angela sending out invites for the Halloween party. She's throwing a party to pay rent, and if this don't work, her ass is back out on the streets.
You gotta make money on this one, buddy, or it's out on the fucking street.
I was wondering why she looked so familiar. The actress is Shannon Elizabeth. She's from Scary Movie and 13 Ghosts. This movie has a few familiar faces like Maddie, played by Monica Keena. That was also in Freddy vs. Jason, one of my most rewatched guilty pleasures as a kid. She's getting ready for the Halloween party with two of her friends, Suzanne and Lily. In the next transition, we get an awesome cameo from Linnea Quigley doing what she did back in 1988, but in front of some kids. I know I'm being greedy, but I at least wanted one more cameo, and I know the perfect scene to put them in, which we'll get to later. We catch up with some of the other characters, Dex and Jason, chilling on a rooftop smoking some of that devil's lettuce before shooting this bully down with a paintball gun with the most quotable lines in the movie, at least for me. No costume, no candy, motherfucker.
No costume, no candy, motherfucker!
One of the last main characters we meet is Cullen. He's supposed to be a low-level drug dealer like Jesse was on the early seasons of Breaking Bad. We follow him back to the club as he meets the owner who's supposed to be a kingpin of some sort. He starts talking about his last chance to get him his money. This scene threw me off because as he's talking, the camera zooms out and we see dude getting necked. Now, it is a pretty weird scene at first, but I have a weird sense of humor because as the chick head keeps bobbing up and down, it got a little chuckle out of me. The kingpin tells Cullen to have double his money by the end of the night, which leads Cullen to go to the Halloween party hosted by Angela to sell some of that Walter White. We're gonna follow him up until he gets to the entrance of the party where he has some trouble getting in. There's some dialogue that suggests Angela doesn't want him there, but it's never explained as to why. Ben Frank does help Colin out so he can get in, while we switch perspectives to Suzanne running to her ex-boyfriend Dex and the homie Jason. We also find out that Maddie and Cullen are exes too, which is almost unbelievable, like Gabriel and Rosita in The Walking Dead, but I'll roll with it. Maddie goes to freshen up in the bathroom and starts touching shit before looking in the medicine cabinet to touch more shit, and then a hand comes out through the mirror to tell her to stop that. She rushes out, running into Suzanne as she tries to show her what she's seen, but of course nothing's there. The party continues as Angela hypes the crowd up, Colin is selling that Walt, and the two exes rush upstairs to add another ex to the scene. It doesn't last long as the party gets shut down. Now this is the perfect place for a cameo that I was talking about earlier. This scene where a random ass cop walks towards the camera like we're supposed to know who the fuck he is. Alvin Alexis, the actor for Roger, would have been a perfect nod to the original, especially the way it's filmed. I'm happy they got Linnea Quigley back, but I wanted just a little bit more. I'm greedy, I can't help it. Anyways, the cops come in and shut everything down. Colin gets rid of the evidence while the other named characters besides Angela hides out in different parts of the mansion. Angela gets the shit end of the stick since her money got stolen and she gets a hefty ass ticket. But the good news is, if you could call it good news, is that she won't have to worry about it after tonight. After the cops dip out, all the characters link up in the vestibule. If you don't know what that is, You're grown, look it up. Cullen asks Angela where the vent leads, taking the crew downstairs to the basement. They find 6 skeletons down there, and one has a gold tooth. Angela can't help but put her stubby little fingers in his mouth, but gets bit in the process. This dude Dex talking about, yeah, it's probably a reflexor or something like that. Or a fucking skeleton. He's probably in denial like the rest of the group is after seeing some shit like that, but the crew tries to leave and finds out that the gate is locked and there's no way out, except maybe jump the gate? Man, they desperately need Roger in here to show them some niggotry. The crew gets back inside and starts talking about the legend of the mansion, saying that Evangeline loved Lewis, but he didn't love her back. So she resorted to voodoo and witchcraft, eventually getting into contact with a few spirits which tricked her into a seance. By the end of the night, everyone had disappeared and the maid had wrote spells on the wall going crazy. Of course, the group doesn't take it seriously as Angela's sitting down with the shivers from that skeleton bite. She excuses herself to the bathroom trying to compose herself, but at this point, the demon has taken over, transforming her into a creature of the night. She comes back out with a new attitude, counting the amount of people there are, with 7 being her lucky number. They all play spin the bottle besides Cullen, who's the only worried one out the bunch.
It sucks, man. There's fucking dead bodies downstairs and you guys are playing fucking spin the bottle.
When you say it like that out loud, it sounds crazy, but since nobody can do anything till morning anyway, he joins them to witness Dex and Jason have bad luck with the spin having to kiss each other during the game because Maddie and Lily had to do it earlier. Not like anybody complained though. Things get awkward when Dex spins on Angela and she doesn't waste any time getting it on, passing the demon on to him. Suzanne gets jealous and pulls Dex into another room. She wastes no time with being the forgiving next, let him slide in with ease. Mid-stroke, Dex turns into a demon and transforms Lily into a demon as well by anal penetration. While that's going on, the rest of the group gets sexually harassed by Angela before everyone but Lily decides to try to find a way off the property. Angela seduces Suzanne by dancing with her, then sliding her a few kisses. A couple of spins later, Suzanne realizes they're airborne, but it's too late and gets her face ripped off. Back with the remaining survivors, they make their way back inside the mansion after failing to find another way out. Jason dips to the bathroom and gets startled by Lily. She recreates the lipstick scene, to my surprise, with even worse practical effects than in 1988. You'd have to watch both movies to see what I mean, but it looks like she has pop-on, pop-off titties. Jason leaves distraught, not knowing how to bring it up to the group. They get impatient and tell him to spit it out, which leads to the funniest part in the movie to me.
Well, what did you see?
She stuck a lipstick in her boob and it fell out of her pussy. Okay?
Well, this is some low-hanging fruit humor, but sometimes I don't feel like reaching too high to get a laugh, and to me, this was the perfect delivery. Cullen and Maddie follow him out, but of course nothing's there. They start to question him before seeing something crawl across the hall. I'm not sure how Maddie knew it was Suzanne crawling across the hall with that speed, but I'll roll with it. Maddie gets jump scared by a faceless Suzanne. I have to retract what I said about most of the demons not matching how they died. Suzanne is the only exception. The rest is... well, you'll see. Jason stabs Suzanne with a poker, giving them enough time to run away, but waiting for them at the front door is Angela. The crew rushes to another room, hides behind the bar, and panics about what they just saw. They decide to go to the basement to get to the supposed underground tunnel that leads off the property. They all sneak to the basement, finding a shotgun in the process. This is a side note. While the plot may be as basic as you can get, all the characters' chemistry together on screen really worked for me, especially between Edward Furlong as Cullen and the actor for Jason, John Beach. They bounce off each other really well, and it honestly feels like they interacted at some point in their lives before the movie starts, which is way more than I can say about the third movie, and don't even get me started on that shit. Anyways, they get down to the basement, skimming past the skeletons, which went from 6 to a concerning 2. Maddie notices, but nobody else gets it because why would they? They have bigger things to worry about. The survivors get to the underground tunnel, only to find the exit to be covered, which looks like it happened recently. They decide to head back, but get greeted with vines coming out the wall holding them as the demons make their way there. Jason shoots the demon Dex in the head with pinpoint accuracy, but it does no real damage. He gets pinned in the corner, but Cullen saves him in the neck of time with a rusty pole. Maddie's too busy backing up into a demon's arms, but gets saved by Cullen too. The crew makes their way back up to the basement.
It's a fucking pantry!
Oh, my bad. They rush up to the pantry with the demons right on their tail. Jason points out that the rust from Cullen's weapon actually hurts the undead. Not even seconds into them discussing what harms the demons, Demon Suzanne bum rushes Jason with tentacle titties, and I wish I was lying. Jason gets out of its grasp with the saw and hits his own leg in the process. Cullen helps out and Maddie gets to the door so they can escape. Before they leave, Cullen gets one more good hit on tentacle tits. They rush upstairs to seemingly a random room to hide out for a bit. While Maddie is helping Jason with his wound, Cullen notices writing behind the painted wall. It gets scraped off and it's revealed that this is the room the maid was in when she went crazy. We get a backstory explained to us by Maddie saying that the demons tried to take the place of the devil and got banished from hell. There is a loophole though. If they're able to possess 7 people on one Halloween night, they'd be free to roam and wreak havoc on Earth. These were the spirits that Evangeline accidentally got in contact with that led to 6 people getting possessed and Angela unaliving herself to keep the demons from getting out. After the explanation, they decide to camp out in the room until dawn. While the crew rests, the demons are having some orgy or some weird shit like that. I could have done without this scene, honestly. They already had a demonic sex scene and I didn't need another one. Maddie wakes up to the dresser sliding across the room. As the door opens, Maddie tries to wake them up, but they're sleeping like babies. She walks towards the door to see Angela right outside talking shit about how she's gonna kill and fuck Colin at the same time, which halfway sounds like a good time. Maddie quickly realizes Angela can't get in and tells her to
Shut up, bitch.
The guys finally wake up and realize the sun is starting to come out. The good news is short-lived as blood starts to rush down the wall and wash away the spells. Hands start to come out while the crew attempts to wash the blood from the walls and rewrite the spells. It's successful, the sun comes out and the group has a moment of relief. They walk downstairs, but something seems off. Cullen decides to throw a can out the window, exposing the illusion the demons set forth. The night isn't actually over and they were tricked into getting out of that room. Not gonna lie, I probably would have got caught up just like they did in this scene. The demons rush them individually. Maddie and Colin box them with ease, but Jason can't do much and get his stomach ripped open, turning him into a bald demon, which damn near took me out the movie. But I'm guessing some of the demons have their own look this time around instead of looking like they did when they died. But I'm not feeling it, especially if the demons are gonna look like a cigarette smoker in their 40s. Wait a minute. Does this demon have hair? Holy shit. This gets even worse. They made him look like Goro from Mortal Kombat. Maddie and Colin rush back to the safe room, and as soon as they do, Colin comes to the realization that if he isn't killed by the demons, he's going to be killed by the Kingpin for not having his money on time. Maddie checks him because that's the last thing she wants to hear about right now.
Jason is dead, for God's sakes, and all you've been talking about all night is like me.
Cullen goes to wash his face before noticing the tub filled with blood. He checks it out with his rusty pole. Nothing seems to be there, but as soon as he turns around, Demon Dex pops out, and I think he tries to fuck him.
You know what? I think that thing wanted to fuck me.
That's exactly what I said. There's no spells in the bathroom, which is how that was able to happen. As Cullen and Maddie are discussing what happened, Cullen falls through 3 fucking stories and only gets a broken bone. You gotta suspend disbelief for this one, cause he can fall through 3 stories, but as soon as Maddie tries to splint his leg, he dies and turns into a bald, burnt demon. Maddie rushes back upstairs and goes through a montage scene gearing up with the rusted nails and a shotgun and wires to take on all the demons. She walks out and says, "Welcome to my world, bitch," before shooting Angela. Ooh, my bad, wrong movie. As she survives the onslaught of the demons, she realizes that the only way to end the madness is to follow in Evangeline's footsteps. She ties the noose around her neck, then drops to her death. The sun rises a legit few seconds later. Angela and the rest gets burnt to a crisp like SpongeBob and Patrick without water, and the movie ends. Nah, I'm just kidding. Maddie survives with the big brain move of tying a rope around her waist before hanging herself. She has one last one-liner before leaving the property, ending the movie. Alright homies, that was the end of the Night of the Demons 2009 reboot, also putting an end to the franchise. This is a movie that I've come to appreciate more every time I watch it. Granted, I have nostalgia with the franchise, so I'm sure I look at it with a different lens than most people. If I'm being honest, if I want to be entertained, characters mean more to me than the plot. And with this movie, the plot was as flat as they come, but with Edward Furlong as Colin and John Beach as Jason, which I really enjoyed. I wish he was in more roles, but Monica Keena was the weakest of the 3, but I still enjoyed how she was able to play off the other 2 actors, and I actually liked her better in this role than in Freddy vs. Jason. But as much as I enjoy all the characters, they could have saved this from how lackluster most of the demon designs look, along with some of the dialogue that was almost porn worthy.
Ow! It bit her.
Probably a reflex thing.
The camera work could have been a little better, and some of the scenes could have been shaved off and would have had no effect on how I look at the characters. With all that being said, I had to put this movie at the bottom of the spooky category. I'm gonna change this tier list a bit because I can't keep putting things in the spooky category. It gets kind of boring, and on top of that, some of the movies that I review aren't really spooky and aren't boring either. They just ride that fine line in between, just like with Night of the Demons 2. So with that being said, I would like to welcome our new tier list, with the top still being Fright Delight, of course. Right below is Close to the Sun for movies that I love but aren't closest to my heart. Right under that is Spooky Sober for movies that can have unnerving qualities while still being sober or not under the influence. Next is A Good Time with Alcohol, which is self-explanatory, But I will say that this category might have horror movies that aren't usually considered good, but I can have a good time with them, especially with the right drink in my system. Right under that is Snooze Fest, which are movies that aren't trash, but were hard to get through and could probably put me to sleep faster than NyQuil. And of course, at the bottom of the barrel are movies that I genuinely did not enjoy, straight boo-boo. Now, I know I might have to put some of the movies I reviewed in different categories, but for right now, we can keep them in the same spots. Now, with this ranking system, I'll put this movie in the good time with alcohol category. Now, where would I rank based on the night of survival with the sole survivor, Maddie? Now, you know I'm not gonna lie to y'all homies. I think I get caught up around the same time they found out there wasn't daylight outside. In hindsight, it's easier to say that I opened a window or not trust my watch, but in the moment when my watch hasn't been wrong all night, and my eyes haven't lied so far, what reason would I have to think there wouldn't be daylight outside? With that being said, I'll rank in the almost but still dead category. If I had to recommend this movie to anyone, it'd be the people that has any appreciation for any of the films outside the original, because that's a given. I believe if you enjoy lowbrow humor like I do from time to time, or slightly over-the-top characters, then I think this is a movie you can turn your brain off and enjoy. While not being anywhere near the original, I still think it's an underappreciated 2000s campy watch. I'll check this out if you have an hour and a half to spare, and maybe a drink or two. If you made it to the end of the video, thank you so much for making it this far. Let me know what you thought about the Night of the Demons 2009 remake in the comments below, even if you disagree with me. And if you enjoyed this video and have any movies that you want me to cover in the future, put that in the comments below too. Please like and subscribe to see more reviews like my Night of the Demons 1988 Part 3 Let's Talk video if you haven't seen that already. And also check out my next Let's Talk series review on the Return of the Living Dead franchise, starting with Part 1 coming next week. It's been real, homies. I appreciate y'all coming to a Fright Delight, and I'll catch y'all later. Peace.